Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today. We'll just wait for the last few people to enter the meeting room. I hope the weather is as good as it is down here in Brighton. It's one of the hottest days of the year, so appreciate you taking your time out. Absolutely gorgeous down there today. A couple more people just coming in.
That's not going to last, John. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's make the most of it while you can today.
I did see.
Yeah, we woke up to rain today in Ireland. Not that that's news, but the weather's changing.
Oh yes,
you've got a lovely tan, Robin, since we spoke yesterday.
No, since yesterday. Do you think?
Yeah.
Do you know what? There actually is just a bit of light coming into this room at a different time.
I thought it was all those sunbeds, but no, it's good. Looking good.
No, I would never. I'm proudly pale. What you see is freckles coming together.
Guys, as I say, thanks for joining us today. We'll start. Just housekeeping. We're recording this seminar, so we'll send you the full recording of it. If you don't want to be seen on video, I'd recommend turning off now. Otherwise, we will crack on. We'll try and keep the session to around 30 minutes or so, and we'll see how we go. We've been sent loads of questions from you, so we'll try and get through as many of those as we can towards the end of the seminar. My name's Jono. I'm Jono Cox, Head of Marketing at Learning People. I've been with the company for coming up for 8 years. Who are Learning People? Some of you are speaking to us. Well, we're a digital school. We specialise in offering careers in project management and tech. We have over 35,000 students worldwide where we've enabled those people to live better lives through changing careers, through upskilling, landing dream jobs, and say ultimately earning more money, which I guess is what we're all in it for. We're going to speak to James today, who's one of our standout students, and as we do with these seminars, it's just great to get to know our students, understand their story, understand what certifications they've got and their whole experience, and for them to share that journey with you. So let's start by saying hello to Matt, who heads up the project management team. He's been with the business slightly longer than me, knows so much about project management, a project management aficionado, I'd say. Matt, what have we got in store today?
Thanks, Jono. That's quite the introduction. Yeah, I love these webinars. We've done quite a few over the last 5 or 6 months, and I was just saying briefly to James before we started that they work so well for our students hearing the experiences of other students, so it's as much as the background or insight that I can offer, or what Robin can offer and yourself. I mean, I think it's, James is going to be the one that's sharing the information that most of you will be have the heightened interest in. But yeah, I mean, just brief background about myself. It's like I said, I've been with the company 8 years. It was in June, Jono, so I'm pretty certain you've hit the 8-year mark as well. And since over that time, the industry of project management has both changed very little, but also changed seismically, to say the least. Think of it, in that time that I've been with the company, we've had the after effects of the global recession, we've had the Brexit referendum and the fallout from that, and we've also had the pandemic over the last 18 months or so. And one of the things that has remained remarkable throughout all of that is not just the resilience, but the continuing stubbornness almost of project management as a profession to keep growing throughout all of those like periods of adversity, shall we say. And I think that's the exciting thing about a webinar like this. We can speak to so many of our prospective students about the amazing opportunities that project management still creates and offers. And across the many of you that are joining us today, there'll be some of you that are probably asking questions like, what is project management? Some of you will be asking, I'm already a project manager, but what's the next step? Some of you have been in the industry maybe 10, 15 years. And the one continuing theme for all of you is that, firstly, peace of mind. There's more project management jobs available now than there has been in recent memory. It's an industry and profession, recession-proof profession as well, as in the fact that project managers are responsible as much for downsizing industries as they are for upsizing businesses and industries. And also salaries are going up and up and up. They are desperate to get the right people to help businesses adapt and for businesses to grow as well. So yeah, I mean, in my time, I've never seen anything quite like I have in the last 18 months. My team go home most days exhausted but thoroughly rewarded. We have so many thousands of conversations each and every month about what the next steps are. And one of the things that we love about it is the variance. Everybody's career is different, and the theme is everybody needs a certification, but what one? So we've got over 50 to 60 years combined consultation experience on my team alone. So if you are in a consultation with them, you're definitely in the safest of hands, that's for sure.
Thanks, Matt. That's yeah, great introduction, and I think that segues nicely into meeting Robin. Now, you know, why do people come to Learning People? There's many reasons. We offer the world's leading and accredited certifications, but the key part of that is the way that we support our students into new careers. And to upskilling as well. We have a award-winning student support. Our career services team will help with your job support, placement, interview techniques, which Robin's going to tell us about. We offer one-to-one tutoring, live classrooms. There's so many extra bits than just offering certifications, which, you know, you can go to many other online training providers for that. So career services is one of our core reasons for students enrolling with us. And Robin, can you tell us a little bit about what's involved in that?
Yeah, absolutely. So our purpose is to support students in helping them become job ready and navigating the job market and navigating a career change, if applicable, right? There's a lot of you that will be like James in the project management field, and that's totally fine. Some of you will be starting out and some of you will be doing a complete career change. The process and the support is completely tailored to the needs of each individual student. But we do have a set kind of outline that we follow. So phase one focuses all about building your professional brand, and it's all about presenting yourself in line with the market's expectations of your desired role. That might sound like a bit of a mouthful, but like, you've got our support in helping you do that. So we give you resources in which you can kind of kickstart that process on researching the industry, on updating your CV and your LinkedIn to reflect the career change or just reflect that role that you're aiming for. Once we've achieved that industry standard of your CV and LinkedIn, we'll then progress you to phase two, which is all about networking, right? And networking is an incredibly important skill for you to have as a project manager, even aside from the fact that it is one of the more effective routes of finding employment. So essentially what we do in phase two is we work with students to help you figure out how you can approach people in the industry, how you can build these contacts, build these relationships, and build a brand for yourself, but also on striking an important balance of how you approach the market. So too often you hear of people saying, I've applied for 100 jobs, or I've applied for 200 jobs and I've had no responses. And it's very true, we hear it all the time, but it is a really unfortunate byproduct of the fact that these online job boards, they only represent 30% of available opportunities in the market. So if you're not networking or approaching companies directly, you're missing out on 70% of available opportunities. So we help students to create a clear and structured plan where you're balancing multiple methods of application. And that is what gives you a much stronger probability of achieving a positive result, which is a response or an interview. We then progress you on to phase three, which is the final phase, and it focuses predominantly on interview support. So we'll do anything from interview prep to mock interviews to helping you with presentations, with interview debrief, and helping you with job offers. Overall, you get, like I said, a fully tailored and also impartial support. We have recruitment experience, but we're not recruiters trying to put you into a role. So you will get advice that is totally focused on you and your long-term goals, and through a one-to-one method, which really helps you build a strong rapport with shared vision and goals. And the support is available to you all the way up until you start your role. That's what we do.
In a nutshell, thank you very much, Robin. Now, I know you've worked with James. So, James, where are you based?
I'm based in Bristol.
Bristol, what a lovely part of the world. Is it sunny with you?
Yeah, it's a bit sunny.
A bit sunny. Good, right. Well, thanks for taking the time to join us today. We just want to understand a little bit about your journey, like why did you first come to Learning People, and your experience in general. So you're an experienced PMP. And I know that you've worked really closely with Career Services to secure multiple interviews, which we will touch on. And you now have just accepted a job at Babcock, is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Great, okay. We'll come on to that then. How about if you could start by just telling us a little bit about your career journey to date and why you actually got into project management?
Well, so since I graduated in mechanical engineering, so predominantly I'm an engineer, but I've been working in engineering project management for over 15 years. Started as a project engineer and then sort of progressed on to a project manager. But my most recent role was within oil and gas industry, and due to the pandemic, the sector had slowed down quite a bit. So having previously worked in both nuclear and defence, I wanted to get back into one of those industries. And so whilst I was on furlough with my last job, I decided to spend some of my time studying towards a new project management qualification, the PMP, to help me succeed getting a new role in one of these industries.
So when you were looking to study the PMP, what research did you do, and how did you end up with learning people?
I obviously looked at the website. When I saw about the career services, that helping out getting the CV support and the interview support, then that sort of gave it for me, because I wanted to get a new qualification, but also that service as well was beneficial, and I think it really helped me to secure a new role.
But I mean, that's fantastic that you've just accepted your role. Well, I'll come on to kind of what that role is. But you also secured multiple interviews. So did you turn those offers down?
So if I start really at the start of 2021, my CV was working quite well, and I was getting many invites to interviews, but I found it difficult to present myself competently during the interview and struggled to secure a new role. And then working with Robin from Career Services helped me to finally secure a position with Babcock by developing my interview techniques and providing some feedback on how I presented myself. So just before my interview with Babcock, we did a mock interview, and she gave me some great tips on how to succeed, which certainly did help and secure the new role.
No, that's a great story to hear. And what's your role at Babcock?
Project manager.
And what so if you were to go for or strip it back into daily tasks, what's your objective? Have you got a team that you're organising, any budgets, or what do you do there?
So I haven't started there yet. It's in just under 2 weeks. But obviously I will be sort of managing the project, managing the budget, the program. I haven't met my team yet, so I'm not quite sure how many I will be sort of managing. But looking forward really to getting into it and getting my hands dirty, really.
Yeah, great. That's, I mean, it's completely fresh. So what do Babcock do? What services do they provide? It's
in the defence industry. Okay. So there is the Dreadnought program that I will be involved on.
Okay, I don't know what that is.
Submarines.
So okay, this is exciting. And what part of the submarine is it? More manufacturing submarines, or this?
It would be mainly the weapons handling equipment for the submarine.
Wow, that's super exciting. Okay, and is that close to Bristol? Yes,
it's in Bristol City Centre.
And Robin, so from when you've been working in Career Services, you've been working with James, is this typical in terms of helping people to go through that interview process and really kind of just going through? I assume the interview was over Zoom or did you
sorry. The interview that I succeeded on was actually at an interview day. There was numerous candidates. And it was all face to face, and there was 2 45-minute interviews that I had to attend.
And were they quite grueling then?
There was a technical one with some sort of questions, and obviously the PMP studies that I've done really helped me because I was able to sort of answer those well, and then the behaviour interview went well. It just sort of showed myself really who I am, what I can do, and with the help of Robin, there was some other sort of tips that she gave me to show you sort of be confident and show how much you really wanted that job, and how much praise the company so much that I had them smiling at the other end of the table, and it worked well.
And Robbins, when James first connected with you, and you had that initial conversation, what kind of what did you see straight away, and what kind of things did you recommend for James?
So we actually ended up, this is a true testament to how tailored the process is, right? We ended up speaking, and then straight away James had interviews. So it was a case of jumping straight into the prep and looking at the CV later. Just because it wouldn't have been useful to him to just start going through the CV at that point. He was getting interviews already. So we had to jump straight into the prep. And so I get James to, as quickly as possible, to give me a full overview of what he's looking for and where the big points in his experience, and talking through the interviews that he's had already. So just to kind of get a baseline of where things are at. Then the process would kind of go that he would send me the job description. I would send him resources, and then about a day later we'd meet up on the phone and we basically practice through everything. So we did a lot of work on the competency based questions. So I had James to basically plan out some examples in line with the STAR method, and then we'd go through them on the phone, and I'd give him feedback, and we'd go from there, right? So what happened then was we did a lot of work on trying to, exactly like James mentioned there, on the confidence side of things, right? So I would have I'm objective, right? So I have the job spec, James's CVs, and James's answer, and I'm able to then objectively tell him this is a really fitting answer, this is really good, da, 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 da. So it gives that reassurance to him that he's doing a good job.
Yeah.
And also, like he said, not only teach you how to answer questions, teach you how to charm the interviewer as well, if you want to do that.
Yeah.
That certainly worked with James.
James, you're currently studying your PMP.
I am, yes.
How far away from certifying are you?
Well, I was going to put myself forward for the exam before I started my new role, but I didn't know about the live learning, so I'm about I was just having to sit through the live learning at the moment, so I'm about quarter of the way through the live learning, but I've done all the other sort of training, all the tutorials and that, and the questions. So I was really looking to just get straight in, do a mock interview, and then get the exam in. But to get the 35 hours in, it's going to take me into when I start my new role. And so it will probably be like a month into there before I sit the exam.
And I mean, it's fantastic without even becoming certified. You've already landed. I mean, is this a dream job for you? Is this something that you've?
Well, I used to work with Babcock some time ago, and I was in sort of manufacturing, sort of project engineer role, and I always wanted to get into the project management side of things, and not just be a project engineer over that side of the building, but be a project manager. So it was quite sort of good to know that I've kind of jumped ahead really with my career path, and ended up in one of those project manager positions at Babcock. So I'm quite pleased about it.
So since coming out of the pandemic, how would you say that the current kind of job opportunities are for people entering into project management, James?
Initially, I found that when we were in the pandemic, the employers were being a bit more reserved about offering new roles. Obviously, the more candidates per role than pre-pandemic. So it made the employers been a bit more selective, as they had a strict criteria and are assisting that successful candidates meet them all. But this is where I found that the project management training provided by learning people to be very beneficial. I was able to answer those technical questions confidently. And I also found that some of the interviews that were held via Teams prior to face-to-face, and we were kind of restricted on time. So I found it difficult to show off my true self, really. Sorry, computer's going funny. But as we come out of this pandemic, I'm seeing that there is a lot of PM roles out there, and it's increasing a lot. And I felt really just to keep at it, even though the start of the 2021 I was a bit struggling, shall I say, to get a new job with the help of the career services. I just kept at it and secured a fantastic role.
Yeah, well, massive congratulations, James. Start of an epic journey, I'm sure. Matt, in terms of then the opportunities from what you've seen, when we enrol students from all around the world into many different areas of project management, you know, it's not all construction. It's like every industry needs a project manager. Well, how have you found things since the pandemic?
Surprising. Like I was saying earlier, you know, it seems to be a profession that rolls its sleeves up, get on with it, and sort of creates opportunities, even at times when you'd expect it to be the opposite. I think the big shift has definitely been in what's expected of a project manager has changed massively. What qualification project managers need has changed quite considerably. And there's certain industries that have no doubt been impacted greater than others. I mean, the amount of opportunities we're seeing now in terms of job boards is just staggeringly good. It's absolutely fantastic. Over 50% of jobs out there as well are new positions. It's not like they're refilling positions that were there pre-pandemic that they furloughed and cut out on, and it's just like the same numbers. It's not. I mean, these are new positions, which demonstrates growth. You take sectors like James said about oil and gas, retail, finance, and those are professions, you know, the energy sector as well, that have gone through huge changes as well over the last 18 months. And healthcare is a massive one, you know. So with that has come not just the pandemic, there's been digitalization, which has changed companies hugely as well. And we're noticing a higher demand for qualifications to reflect that. You know, change management, for example, is something that 2 years ago was acknowledged, but not really appreciated for the weight it brings. It's huge now. Change management is now one of our most requested and popular certifications. A staggering statistic the other day, Jono, was as well that it was 80% of project managers say that they're having to adopt and deploy fresh approaches to their projects as well. You know, for years, a good example that'd be Prince 2. Prince 2's been king. Prince 2 is massive. You must have Prince 2. Yeah, you do, but agile, change, ITIL are all things that are changing the way that project managers are working. But what it's led to is a demand for certified professionals that bring quantifiable value to a company. When I first started, it was all career changers. Anybody that was working in the industry was kind of sitting there pretty going, yeah, it's fine. I've got a work experience the length of my arm. I know so many contacts in the industry. I don't even need a CV. I can just go out there and apply because I've got the personal recommendation. Honestly, we now have more inquiries from senior project managers than we do entry level. And I think that just highlights the demand for good quality in the sector and in the profession. So, I mean, we enrolled more people on project management certifications last month than we ever have done in our history. And I think that what comes first, the chicken or the egg, right? People inquire because they're a professional that are looking to protect their future, or people out there looking for a profession because they've lost their previous one. And therefore they're going where the demand is. And I think when you're enrolling as many people as we are, it's just indicative of that continued strength post-pandemic.
You touched on the different types of methodologies there in change management, ITIL, Prince 2. How, you know, if I wanted to transfer, say, from marketing into project management, how would I know what methodology is right for me and what to study?
You'd speak to somebody who knows what they're talking about. You know, you'd speak to one of our team, because it's not just as simple as about, I want to go from marketing into project management. It's a case of, do you want to remain in marketing and be a marketing project manager? Do you want to take your transferable skills and actually use this as the perfect time to take them and move into a different sector? That's something we see all of the time, like what James was talking about earlier. But if I were to have 3 or 4 of my consultants on this webinar today, they would all be able to relay tales from the last week of people that have worked in retail that are now in healthcare, people that were in construction that are now in logistics, people that were in oil and gas that have moved into renewables. So it all comes down to what the individual wants. We'd find out what their skill set is. We'd find out what their transferable skills are. We'd find out where their goals and what they want to go into, what those look like, and then put together a collection, typically of 3 or 4 different qualifications that would represent the framework, such as either Prince or Agile or ITIL, depending on what's most relevant, and then couple it with something like either a PMI qualification like the PMP or an APM qualification, whatever it is that's best suited to where you want to be. Because to flip it on its head, the most frustrating thing is when people get caught up in hearsay about what their friend or their colleague did, and it's just not transferable to that individual. And that's a unique thing about project management. Every career path in project management is A, different, but B, half the people on here that will be looking at project management will not be given the title of project manager. They might be in operations, they might be in logistics, they might be in HR, they might be in marketing, doing project management under the guise of another job title. So it really is, John, a case of speaking to an industry professional like one of our careers consultants that understands that fully and gives advice that means your investment actually reaches a future that Robin can work with, rather than just going out there, doing your average Prince 2 course, your average Agile course, and then expecting at the end of it a 40, 50, 60,000 pound job or the start of the career path. That doesn't work like that. It has to be considered.
James, what advice would you give to people looking to start a career in project management? What should they do?
Well, what I found with myself is just keep at it. Don't let anything failures that I had with the interviews pull you down. Just keep going and use the career services from learning people to help you with interviews or CVs or anything like that. And the qualifications such as the PMP and the Prince 2, they're all beneficial. They will certainly help you with upskilling yourself and getting the job that you want.
So it's definitely helped, I guess, with increase your confidence when
definitely.
You're on. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. And I've had the interview when it came to the technical questions, I was able to answer them confidently.
Yeah. Well, you know your stuff. So let's answer some questions and from the guys that are on the session. We'll start. This is from Isabella. What types of entry-level positions are there in project management, and what does the career ladder look like? I don't know if that's Matt or Robin.
Robin? Or... You
went first, you go. Age before beauty.
No, it's fair enough. I think there's so many opportunities that aren't, like I just was touching on there, right, that aren't specific project management titles. Even within the learning people, we were talking about this earlier, how many people are actually in junior project management positions. They just haven't got the title to reflect it. But traditional career path, you are looking at joining as like either career project administrator, project coordinator roles, junior project assistant roles, those sorts of things. And one of the revealing stats linked into that I find really interesting, Jono, as well, though, is salaries. It's the only profession I've seen that the average salaries tend to match the decade that you are in terms of your age. So if you're in your 20s, the average salary is like 29. If you're in your 30s, 39, 40s, 49, and so on. And it goes up like that. And those are just the averages. But in terms of the availability of entry-level positions, massive. Right, if you have a project team, like James is saying, he doesn't know how big his project team is, right? But if James is the project manager, he's not just going to have one person working as part of his team. He's going to have a sizable pyramid right the way down to the junior positions. So there are more entry-level positions available in project management than there are senior positions. So yeah, there's a wide availability. I'm sure Robin would support me on that as well.
I piggyback a little bit on that. Like, one thing that I always say to students is that it's so important to research project management because it exists in all industries, right? And there are so many different levels at which you can enter the industry. So there's just so many avenues and options to get in there. Like, for example, right, In the past month, I can give you some of the entry-level job titles that some people have moved into. So you've got project executive, project support, we had senior project officer, right, which isn't exactly project manager, but it isn't exactly completely entry level either. We've had general project support, we've had assistant project manager, we've had project coordinator, and those are just the entry level, the more entry level side of things as opposed to senior. So there's so many different titles out there. So don't think that you're just stuck to project manager or project coordinator or PMO. There's honestly maybe about 8 or 9 titles. I'm open to correction on that, but those are some of the ones that we've seen.
And also linked into that, Robin, as well. I imagine people often ask me, like, what sort of person is a project manager? Well, Robin was just saying that the fact that project managers in every single industry. Now, I'm going to be a little bit stereotypical here. You can get certain people that work in certain professions, and they're probably likely to, their personalities overlap quite a lot. You could have 5 project managers in a room that will all be of different ages, different backgrounds, completely different interests and personalities. Whereas if you had two heads of marketing next to each other, the chances are they're probably very, very similar, and you can scale that up, right? But that's the great thing about project management. On this call, we will have some varying differences of like different personalities and interests as well. And I like that side of it as well.
There's no one size fits all, but everybody will fit in somewhere.
But the one thing I'd want to touch on is we've mentioned a couple of times, it's called confidence. People often get caught up in the fact that as soon as they get the qualification, then they've nailed it. I always think about, going back to what James was saying about the interviews, when you're sat in an interview foyer or room outside where the interview is being conducted, you want to have that confidence to know that your education has equipped you with the knowledge that you need. And that's so, so important. It's not just about having the paper, it's about having the education that got you that paper. And I think that's one thing that definitely separates our education process out from doing it in a classroom over 4 or 5 days, or doing it self-taught. You know, going through a thorough process that means you're able to pass exams and nail an interview because you've got it up here. It's an absorbed education is absolutely imperative. So yeah, make sure you do it the right way as well.
Well, Callum has asked, I'm a complete beginner. Can I still get certified in project management and land a role with no experience?
I will say one thing, and I'm going to hand over to Robin. The first thing I would say is yes, but you need to make sure that you've got something that separates yourself from other people. You can have all the transferable skills in the world, but if you're just entering the job market with just your Prince 2 or just Agile on its own, and the job out there says, oh, we need people with Prince 2, Agile or ITIL or Six Sigma, what is it that really separates yourself from other people? So having the foresight to actually take the advice of a consultant and diverse your certification profile is huge. And then it comes over to Robin's advice. So I'm going to pass over to Robin, who will probably dovetail that as well.
Yeah, no, I would. Now, look, I would probably put a bit more emphasis on the transferable skills, because the transferable skills is what you've got to bring to the table, right? And what I always advise students is, do not even think about updating your CV or approaching the market until you've at least got your foundation done. And at the absolute minimum, you need to have your foundation done, because you need to be able to speak the language of the market. You need to know how your transferable skills transfer, right? So there's a big kind of understanding piece and linking piece there. But I think Matt is absolutely right. You've got to understand that you need to make yourself stand out. So what can you bring to the table? What is it about your transferable skills that are so transferable and so applicable? You know, so it is a person by person kind of piece, but we've seen it happen loads of times. Like some of those people that I listed out there were people that did not have any previous project experience and just had their certifications, right? But like Matt said, even if you're not on a senior scale, you're at a more entry level scale, you are still likely doing elements of project management if you've enrolled on the course. So that's what we emphasize, and that's what we pull from.
And linked into that as well, Robin, I think that's really the reason where the power of having a PMI or an APM qualification really takes
100%.
Because and I know a lot of you will be thinking about what's the difference. So Prince, Agile, ITIL teach you planning tools and frameworks of project management, but their handling of the day-to-day elements that makes people like James such a successful project manager simply aren't covered. And if you are entry level and you're going into an interview situation, the chances are your interviewer will know that and want to test you. So having the confidence that know that you've had a PMI or an APM qualification that thoroughly deals with the day-to-day elements of being part of a project team or running a project, that puts that on paper, that you're aligned to best practice and you can deal with various scenarios that you'll encounter in the job. That is one of the main ways to separate yourself, but also give you the confidence on that Sunday night when you're looking for jobs to sit there and go, actually, yeah, I can do that. I can apply for that. Yeah, I will mention that one with Robin or Marisha tomorrow, this job that I've seen. So that's where the power of an APM or PMI qualification really starts separating you from everyone else. Certifications and confidence and ability.
James, just touching on the learning that you've had with learning people. How easy was kind of the platform to navigate? How straightforward was it?
It's pretty straightforward. I had a phone call and they sort of showed me around the system. But the Prince 2 is slightly different to the PMP platforms, but they're fairly straightforward.
And did you utilize all of kind of the books that go along with it as well?
Oh, you know what? I've added lots of different books into my playlist now. But yeah, I'm looking for it, especially some of they've got some sort of mock exam papers that you could use for the so when I come to do, once I got through the live learning, I'll just be going through just doing lots of different questions and preparing myself as much as possible for the exam. You've
got a busy few weeks coming up, haven't you? Finish up your last classroom, start a new job, your exam.
Start a new job. Just kind of put it all in together. As I said, I wanted it to try and get it in before, but it's what it is really, and I'll get through it. I'll get it done.
I think you will, James. I mean, one of the things about the PMP is, yes, it is a long course. It's a challenging course, but it's also it's designed to reflect your experience rather than really put you through the mill. The standard of the Precipio platform that we've introduced in the last 18 months or 2 years on PMI courses has been remarkable. In fact, I'm very proud to say that our current pass rate on the PMP in 2021 is actually currently 100% for entrance to the exam. So I'm saying that, James.
No pressure, James.
Yeah, I didn't mean it like that. There's more about confidence for yourself. But if you follow the test prep and you follow the mock exams and you engage in the content that's there, the qualification is a logical reward and conclusion for the process.
Well, I think you've got to get 80% in the mock exam before you get put forward for the real exam, and pass is 55%. So yeah, should be all right on that.
Yeah, the 80% is a benchmark to then like take into consideration any external situations on the day or the pressures of the environment, you know. But it's we would never irresponsibly put someone forward for their exam, even at their own request, in case we actually felt that they were ready to do it. So it's something that we feel quite strongly about.
James, what are you, just final question, what are you most excited about in terms of your new job, and what is going to be the most daunting aspect of it and the most challenging, do you think?
Well, obviously it's working within Babcock's, and I know that the product was from one I've worked there before on similar sort of products. They were quite exciting. It was a very good team to work with, and so some of the guys from Babcock, I will know some of them from my previous experience, so I'm looking forward to that aspect, getting into it. Daunting side of things is well, some of it will be going back to see some of my old colleagues, but I'll be there like a manager now, and that will be a bit of a strange situation where before I was just an engineer. So that will be quite daunting, but once I get into the swing of it, it'll be good, and it's a new challenge, new page really, so yeah. And in terms of like where I've been, obviously my last position was in oil and gas and I got made redundant. I feel being in the defense sector, it's going to be a lot more secure, so I feel a bit more sort of comfortable really, and I'm looking forward to just working really.
Yeah, well, massive congratulations again, and good luck with the upcoming PMP exam. Matt, I know you're having conversations with lots of people that are on here. If people want to get in touch, we'll email out a recording of this session. But was it contact you directly? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, I mean, if you're in communication already with your careers consultant, you might have had initial conversations, you might yet have that conversation, just reach out to them straight away. You know, anybody that's on this webinar today as well that isn't in that current process, we'll give you a call as well later on, either today or later this week, just to sort of answer your questions and begin that consultation process, because you're all individuals, you're all different. James's story, fantastic. Thank you for sharing that, mate. It's been really offers great insights. Everybody else on here will be slightly different, I dare say, and will end up doing different courses with different guidance. And you don't really kind of understand how important it is to have that conversation until you've actually had it with one of the consultants who will take you through your career today, what you're looking to achieve, what sort of salaries you're after, what sort of certifications and research you've done. All of these different sort of things lead to a different journey with us. So yeah, we'll be in touch 100%. If not, and you want to have that conversation straight away, just give us a call. Just get on board with us straight away, and give us a call or inquire via our website, and we can take it from there.
Thanks, Matt. Robin, thank you as always. Enjoy the rest of the Dublin sunshine. And James, again, thanks for joining us. We'll look forward to hearing the next instalment of your journey. Thanks for joining us, everyone, as well.
Take care. Thanks a lot.